So again, my name is Laura Crandall. I'm the Director of Student Involvement and Leadership, and I'm here to serve as your host in these Zoom sessions. This is the first of 4. Today is about academic life, academic success, and study tips with a host of people, including our interim provost, Dr. David Newman, our associate registrar, Beth Menard, our 2 academic advisors, and more, the Director of Undergraduate Advising, and Erin Tichelli, who is the advisor for 2 departments, Landscape Architecture and Environmental Studies. And then Amelia Hoffman, our Academic Success Coordinator. Finally, Tyler Dorholt, the writing program and faculty here, and Christina Surak, coordinator for the Public Speaking Lab. We also have joining us Bethany Heaton Cross, who is from the Center for Disability Resources. So thank you all for joining us. And I know we have a few others, Mary Triano, who is our Senior Associate Dean, and Ann Lombard, who is our Dean for Student Affairs, Dean Lombard. So again, today's agenda, we'll talk about academic life and updates with our provost. We'll go over registration information. New students are registered in a slightly different way than you'll be when you're here throughout your time. We'll talk about academic success. We're going to add in advising information just prior to that. And you'll learn about all of our different academic success centers and resources and the hosts that are listed there, and with Q&A. So again, the chat is allowed. It's enabled. It's not muted or anything like that. So do feel free to ask a question. And if we have our panelists able to answer it in real time, great. And we can always answer those aloud too. For those of you who need those questions repeated, we're happy to do that as well. So thank you again for your patience. And then just before we get started, I want to acknowledge where we stand. So ESF is located in the land of the Onondaga Nation, the Center for the 6 Nations of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, who we honor for their many contributions, including the original philosophy and practice of environmental stewardship. So thank you for that, Amelia, and I'll turn it over right now to Dr. Newman, our interim provost.
David, I think you're muted.
I apologize. Hi, I'm
He's
David.
Brand new to Zoom.
This is a whole new world for me. My name is David Newman. I'm the interim provost and vice president for academic affairs. And Laura has asked me to provide some updates on academic life, and I just have a couple of slides to sort of whet your appetite. So the plans that we have for this coming fall, I want to emphasize first, this has come from the chancellor, it's come from our president. We really, really want all students to be vaccinated. It's what's going to allow us to have full classes, in-person classes, and given the fact that many students will be taking courses at Syracuse University, and Syracuse University is requiring that all students who are on campus be vaccinated. We strongly encourage people to get vaccinated. It is not yet a requirement for SUNY for people to get vaccinated. It will become a requirement as soon as the governor allows it, and the vaccine is no longer seen as experimental. So we're excited about this. Having all of our students and faculty and staff vaccinated will allow us to open up the campus completely. You'll be hearing about some of the things that are going to be going on during the academic year from Student Life and from others, but it's, we're excited to actually be able to run as a normal campus again. Almost all of our class, don't switch it yet, please. Almost all of our classes will be face-to-face, and we'll be going back to our old method. Right now, we're working through SUNY guidelines to keep students safe and active, and we expect that we will have no problems in doing that. I'm not going to particularly talk about it. Basically, if you're not vaccinated, life will be less pleasant. And so we really strongly encourage our students to get vaccinated. So with regards to in-person plans, the classrooms will be at 100% occupancy, which we think is important. So we're not planning for social distancing. I will say non-vaccinated students must wear masks. They need to keep social distance where possible, and they will be tested weekly. But again, we are planning on expecting that students will be vaccinated. It may be that some classes students will be asked to wear masks. I know of one situation where a faculty member is particularly immunocompromised and will require students to wear masks in their class. But for the most part, that won't be the case. And like I said, many classes are held on the SU campus, and because of their rules and the expectation of 100% compliance with vaccination, our students will have to be also vaccinated. Next slide, please. So just a couple of updates. We're currently about halfway through with the renovation of Marshall Hall. Marshall Hall was built in the 1920s, has never had a major renovation. And so we're incredibly excited about this building that is going to be has been completely gutted in the inside. The exterior is going to stay the same and will be an incredibly modern showpiece building on campus. It houses environmental studies and landscape architecture, and really we're excited about it. It's due to be finished. Ideally, it'll be around this time, around this time next year, maybe going into the fall semester. But students coming on campus this year will have the joy of dealing with seeing a building being renovated, and it's no real joy, but it will lead to a much better campus going on. Our field programs will be back at full strength. We've been very successful this summer with our programs at Cranberry Lake and at the Ranger School. And so for the student activities that take place on Heiberg Forest and other properties that the college owns, there will be full opportunities to embrace that as part of your academic programs. I'm not sure if there's going to be some discussion about internships later in not today, but in one of the other presentations. But internships have come back. Our students have been able to do a wide variety of internships this summer. And so we're, things are slowly getting back to what we've historically done. So again, we're all excited about these things. And then, so just finally for academic programs, we're expanding some of our online degree programs. We have currently a sustainability management online degree program. We're going to be offering some more within graduate programs. And we have some new majors in or degree programs within the engineering program. There's a master's of engineering. And so the programs are continuing to grow and providing new opportunities for students. So that's all I wanted to talk about. Again, we're very excited about how academic programs are going to be coming back. And we will look on what happened over the last year and a half as a pleasant memory. That's all. Thanks, Laura.
Hi, everyone. My name is Beth Menard, and I'm the Associate Registrar at ESF, and we are super excited that you guys are going to be on campus this fall. Congratulations on your admission. I'm going to be really brief. I just want to talk about one of the things that I know is really important, you guys, is your fall schedule. Well, the good news is right now you don't have to worry about that at all. That's for us to worry about. So we will pre-register you based on your major and any transfer credits that you may have, whether that's advanced placement credits, international baccalaureate, college credits that you either took in high school or if you're a transfer student. And then during orientation, you'll get a copy of that schedule. You'll have time to meet with your department and your advisor to make changes to that schedule, and we'll get you all set up then. But for right now, you don't need to worry about that. Unfortunately, because of we have to register all of the new students and other things going on, we cannot make schedule changes at this point. But you will have plenty of time during orientation, so please don't worry about that. It's important for you to carefully review your curriculum plan sheet that you receive from admissions if you're a transfer student in your acceptance packet. If you're a new first year student, you'll get that at orientation, and make sure that you have any credits that you have coming to you. If you don't, please contact the undergraduate admissions office and make sure that they've received the official AP scores from College Board or that they have your official college transcript. Any of those transcripts need to be sent to the admissions office as soon as they're available so that they can award the credit and we can adjust your schedule if necessary. If you're thinking about changing your major now before classes start or even through the first week of classes, that is also done through the admissions office. So make sure you get in touch with them so that we can get your schedule changed. We're happy to do that and make adjustments, but if you wait too long, then we may have to work with you and you may be making your own schedule changes at that point during orientation. There will be a full presentation of registration and how to do it, because it is a little bit different, even if you are coming from another school, because we use Syracuse University's registration system because of our special relationship with them. So I will give a full presentation at orientation about all of this, and we'll walk you through it. We also are in the computer labs during orientation after the department meetings, helping you make those changes right on MySlice. And Laura has a great bunch of orientation leaders, current students that will also be there to help with that. And then you have your advisors that will help you, like Anne and Aaron and all the wonderful faculty. So nothing to really worry about. Just wanted to give you a heads up on how things work. And we're looking forward to seeing you coming up soon in August.
Hey folks, I'm Erin Ticelli. As Laura mentioned at the beginning, I am one of the professional and academic advisors on our campus. I serve the environmental studies and landscape architecture departments. I'm here with Anne Moore, who is this way on my screen. I don't know if she is on yours. But what I'd like to reiterate from what Beth just shared with us is bring your data. So like Beth mentioned, it's really, really important as we lead into the fall semester to have all of the information available in terms of what you've already earned. Those AP scores, the IB credits, and the community college credits are really, really important because they influence your schedule. Folks who don't get those in may have struggles if we have to drop classes and add things in during orientation time. So it's really important if you can get that in as soon as possible. And even if you can bring unofficial transcripts along with you to orientation, that can be helpful to your department advisor. So have that information available when you come to campus, and make sure you get it to us as soon as possible so those schedules can be adjusted ahead of orientation wherever it's possible.
Thanks, Erin. I'm going to follow up with an invitation to actually support what both Beth and Erin have said. And we would like you to plan your advising as well as you plan your execution of the most incredible concert you've planned to attend. You leave no detail unattended. And in that spirit, we really, again, I want to encourage you to bring all of that data. And so as you think about packing your bags, we want you to think about packing your transcripts, high school, AP, IB, any particular form, because we can absolutely help you from that point of view. But again, using the example of a concert, if you show up at the gate at the Dome without the ticket, you can't get in. And Erin and I and Beth can't register for you for courses, or we don't want to register you for courses that you've already had. A couple of other points that Erin and I had on our notes is that really advising comes in many forms, and each department has their own unique model of advising. And on that note, my final note of let's see, what do I want to say to you? I'm thinking of you as my own children when I'm packing you away to go to school. So I'm thinking about, I want you to seek advice and wisdom from the eclectic array of really incredible people we have at ESF. In your case, you're coming from high schools or other departments with informal and formal mentors. And we really want you to begin thinking about availing yourself of their own unique perspective. Erin, I think you were going to finish us up with maybe some reflection.
Yeah, so to that reflection point, I was just sharing with Anne earlier today a story about a student of mine who probably could have benefited a little bit from taking that step back and thinking about what they like about life and what their career path could be. So the student started off in ERE engineering and then switched to landscape architecture, thinking that they wanted to be problem solving from a practical technical aspect. But after taking that step back and talking to their parents, they realized that what they really wanted was to be managing folks and problem solving in a different way. And so that person is making a change to construction management because that's the boots on the ground kind of work they want to be doing. And so they spent some time in the wrong program because they didn't take that moment to think about what they really wanted to be getting out of their academic experience. So we've already moved on to our next slide. These are just a few tips for you all as you think about how to interact with your academic advisor. That person is here to try to steward you through your academic program in a lot of different ways. But if you have a question or concern and you're not really sure to whom to turn, the first step is always good to go to your academic advisor, because even if they don't have that answer for you, they can hopefully connect you with the resources you need to get some help. And we'll talk more about the services available on campus throughout the rest of this program. But those folks can connect you across those bridges on campus so that you can find what you do need. You want me to keep talking, Anne? Okay.
I will give you a break, Erin. One of the things I would just as a framework, I'll do a couple of these together. And there's an average number of visits that you can expect to see your academic advisor, and they really range on average anywhere between 1 and a dozen, depending on your particular needs. And we can best help serve you when you are coming in with that data, and that data is going to require you to read email. And so what I want you to think about is to really practice before you pack up. You're going to have a lot of people who care about you and know and love you and want to see you one more time and pay attention. And I want you to think about leaving your family and coming to the ESF community. And we are going to be connecting with you in different ways. And in that different way will come in the form of fan email. And so I really want you to get in the habit of checking it out and seeing what kind of great resources. So gamify it if you have to, set yourself a challenge, but a lot of good things come into your inbox in terms of advising. So Erin, if you want to wrap it up, that would be great.
Sure. So to kind of piggyback on what Anne just said, it's really important when you're developing your advising relationship to participate in it. That means checking emails. That means stopping by during office hours. That means having that constant flow of conversation going back and forth between yourself and your advisor, because it's a lot easier for them to know who you are consistently if they have met with you throughout the semester and not just during registration time. So make sure that you're doing outreach to them and responding when they do outreach to you. So some of my best relationships with my advisees are the ones who just pop by into my office on a regular basis just to say hi even, so that I know who they are, I can place them all the time, and I can be in tune with what they need.
Thanks, Erin. That's great advice.
So I know you've already heard from some of the excellent academic advising resources that we have here. So my name is Amelia Hoffman. I am the coordinator of academic success, and I want to share with you kind of a brief overview of some of the other support resources that help you kind of on your journey in your academic experience. And I want to preface this to say that I know that the past year and a half plus has probably been very challenging for your student, that, there has been some adaptation that has been necessary, and also just some maybe challenges with learning material in general. So you may be rusty on some of your in-person class skills. So just know that, we are here to support you in this experience. We want you to be successful. But that also comes with, we want you to reach out and let us know if you're struggling. So there's a lot of variety of resources that we do have available. Some that I'll highlight is that we have in-person peer tutoring support, along with some of the renovations that have happened on campus within this past couple of months, actually. There's a brand new academic success center that's in the basement of Moon Library, and we can't wait to welcome you to that wonderful new space. We will be having a launch party, so come on down, see what it's all about, and during the end of the first week of classes, you can sign up for peer tutoring. So these are students who've taken the course before, who feel really confident in the material, who've done well, and they are there to be a resource to you throughout the semester. We will also be hosting some late night virtual review sessions for first year courses as well. So we'll keep you posted on that. I also conduct one-on-one academic coaching with students who are struggling, and also students who find themselves in the academic recovery program as well. We also host a variety of skill building workshops that will be open and available to all students. So if you feel like you need to brush up on your time management or organization, your note-taking skills, reading comprehension, feel free to pop by one of those workshops. And we'll also have other materials that you can access throughout the semester as well. I know there's some excellent colleagues who are also on the call, so I won't kind of belabor all of these other resources. They'll be able to dive in with you on them. But we have a variety of other professionals on campus who have very specialized skills to help you in other areas of your academic experience, such as the Writing Resource Center, Public Speaking Lab, the English Speakers of Other Languages Center, otherwise known as ESOL, the Math Clinic as well. There's also faculty and TAs, your excellent advisors who you just spoke with. The SU Center for Disability Resources is here as well. There's also the SU Physics Clinic, counseling services, academic integrity, student support, research assistance with the ESF librarians. They're a wealth of knowledge as well. And then there's also AXS test files. So all of these resources will be reinforced with your student over the course of their experience. This will not be the only time. We'll talk about it in orientation. We'll talk about all these resources during their 132 seminars and throughout their time. So just make sure that you're maybe reinforcing some of these things at home. If you hear, hey, I'm really struggling in this class, just try to maybe cue them in to say, you know what, hey, there's all these other resources. Have you checked them out yet? Because students might not necessarily make the connection that they might need that. So here's some tips on how to thrive during your first semester. First thing is go to class. Try to plan your travel time. I know, being on Zoom, it's kind of an automatic connection, but now you might have to make your way up to campus. So make sure you're planning in some travel time. Actively participate in your lectures. Your faculty are some of the most intelligent and engaging people that you'll meet with during your experience, and they want to see your curiosity. So make sure that you're actively engaged, plug in and try to get the most out of your academic experience. So that means kind of answering questions, asking questions, and try to be as engaged as you can. But there are multiple ways that you can engage. You don't have to be that outspoken person. They'll also want you to go to see them maybe in their office hours too. Try to set aside some study time and stick to it. Creating a schedule during your first semester of college can be maybe a brand new experience. So there might be some hiccups along the way, but try to develop something now. Get your wheels turning of how you might want to organize yourself. Practice time management. STEM students also have a lot on their plates. You'll have a lot of really challenging courses and a lot of deadlines that you'll have to keep up with. So make sure that you're trying to foster those skills now. And if you do need support, definitely reach out earlier rather than later. Try to avoid distractions. I know this can be challenging, but if you're aware of maybe your own habits, things that you do to decompress that might unravel your time management, try to minimize those or mitigate them in other ways. Part of being in college means that you also will have to maybe take responsibility for your own learning and self-motivate as well. So know that there might not be somebody who's kind of tapping you on the shoulder to do your homework, that you might need to remind yourself to do those things. But again, this is a new experience. It's going to take time to learn and adapt. So don't worry if you aren't perfect, that's okay. Just keep trying. Paying attention to your health and mental health. This is obviously incredibly important, and burnout in the first semester is real. Usually around October, students start to maybe lose a little bit of steam, a little bit of motivation. So that might be a time that you might want to take a weekend off, do something fun. Just make sure that you're kind of taking care of yourself and reaching out for support if you do need it. To that end, don't be afraid to ask for help. Get to know people on campus. There's a variety of people on the call who want to see you happy and successful here. So please just reach out. All you have to do is just call or email. Try to use technology to your advantage. There's a lot of different informational pieces that you might be able to work with. The career services email is a great way to find internships, new opportunities. Laura Crandall is always pumping out information about student clubs and organizations. So make sure that you're paying attention to all the opportunities that you have. And additionally, utilize all of your resources. They're here for you, so try to engage with them earlier rather than later. I hate to see when a student comes to me 3 weeks before the end of the semester and says, hey, I'm failing a class. I need some help. There's only so many options that you have at that point. So try to kind of alert yourself to kind of how you're doing in the class ahead of time, and don't be afraid to reach out for support. I'll just touch on some of the academic skill building workshops that we have. There's a variety that are available, so kind of know what your student might need coming in, maybe what skills they might want to kind of get to that next level as well. So just know that those will be available on our new platform, Campus Labs. And they'll also be available on the college calendar. And now I'll pass it off to the Writing Resource Center.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tyler Dorholtz. I'm the director of the Writing, Rhetoric, and Communications program, which is housed in the Division of Interdisciplinary Programs, which is a relatively new and minted division. It's where you'll find all the writing and all the math courses. But within this Writing, Rhetoric, and Communications program, you also have numerous different services that are offered, and many of which are tailored to assisting students on any leg of their journey in writing and digital communication, but also kind of branch off into separate interest groups and things that you can do. So I'll walk you through a couple of these, but I want to just add a couple tips branching off of what Amelia said. And one of those things is just that, as a faculty member and as someone who teaches 6 different writing courses at this school, I think it's really important that we don't be afraid and don't be hesitant in reaching out anytime you're confused, anytime you feel like you need clarification about something. And that goes for your professors, but also anything at ESF, because there's a lot of things that slip through, and being communicative from the beginning will really enhance your ability to succeed and to feel less stressed as your semesters move along. So let me dig into some of these different things, and I'll run through all of them in the next couple pages. So what's addressed here is that you can access any of these places for free: the Writing Resource Center, the English for Speakers of Other Languages Center, the Public Speaking Lab, and the Digital Storytelling Studio. If you go to this main website here, there are links and pages for each of these resources. In additional features, we have our environmental writing minor. Many students choose to add this minor to what they're doing, and we're seeing a lot of strength in writing within the sciences, which is extremely nice to see. We also have a literary and arts magazine at ESF, which is run by student volunteers and myself. And every semester we publish an issue that has photographs, films, fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and there's a bunch of editors who have recently started a club. So you can feel free, I'll add my name to the chat, to reach out to me if you have any interest in these separate things. So next slide, Amelia. So the Writing Resource Center is an incredibly valuable asset at ESF. They offer peer-to-peer online tutoring and in-person tutoring. You can schedule appointment to do things like brainstorm, revise, to look at an actual assignment with a tutor and figure out what you think it's asking you to do. And you can also make multiple appointments to come back throughout the semester if you just want to hone your craft in a certain element. Say you're someone who's really good at those first drafts, and you can blast everything onto the page, and yet then you have trouble organizing, right? So no writer should shy away from the opportunity to continue building on their writing skills. The Writing Resource Center also can help you dig through things such as applications, lab reports, resumes, and the various ways in which you will be asked to use citations throughout your ESF career. So there's a website there and appointments located in Moon Library. Each of these services at this moment that I'll talk about are either in Moon, or I'll reference if they are elsewhere. Next slide. So the English Speakers of Other Languages Center is currently in Bray. They offer one-to-one conversation groups, online tutoring, and provide overall support for grammar, writing, and cultural knowledge. ESF has many opportunities to work with international students and to work with graduate students who are working internationally with their dissertations. And the director, Dr. Nina Jakaya, is wonderful and always tailors these sessions to fit kind of your conversational and your writing goals. The Writing Resource Center and ESOL also offer the possibility for internships and tutoring. So if those things you come into ESF excited about already, you can reach out to us and move from there. Next slide. So lastly, before I pass it on to the Public Speaking Lab, I want to bring everyone's attention to the Digital Storytelling Studio. I've been the coordinator of the studio the last 3 years, and when Marshall reopens, it's going to be really a state-of-the-art addition to ESF. It's in the basement of Moon Library now, and what we offer is free rental of amazing film gear, GoPro cameras to go underwater with, the software that you need to edit and build things such as podcasts. There's a digital storytelling club that has recently come out of students who are interested in doing these kinds of things. We have a podcast called Storyboards for Science, which has a few episodes up right now. And one of the classes which I teach is called digital storytelling, where we really stress the emphasis on what it means to be able to create digital opportunities for your work to exist outside of data and paper. So how can you take what you're interested in and condense that and have something that sparks visually? And in the end, you know, we're just playing around with a lot of cameras and a lot of stuff and having quite a bit of fun. And I really look forward to how this studio is blooming. And if you have any interest in anything visual in this sense and how that relates to your field, say you want to be a National Geographic photographer, anything like that, we do film screenings. We love to have conversations, even if you feel like you know nothing about that. Just send me an email and we'll find the right people for you to have a conversation with. So those are 3 out of the 4 student resource centers that are within the Writing, Rhetoric, and Communications program. We work hand in hand with many of the things that Amelia offered, and you know, we'll look forward to sharing a lot of that too. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Christina Sirik, to talk about the Public Speaking Lab, and I'll address any questions that have been dropped in the chat. Thank you.
Hi, can you guys see me? I just want to make sure you can hear me. I still see Tyler there, but hopefully you guys can see me. My name is Christina Sirik, and I'm the coordinator of the PSL. And as Tyler was talking all about the fantastic student resources that we have, the PSL is another one of those. And it's wonderful because it's a student-run resource center, and it allows you to come in. It's very similar to the Writing Resource Center, except in this case, you would be working more on actual presentations and speeches that you may have to give to your classes. So it's great for students to be able to come in, and it can be done through any stage of you working on your presentation. So maybe you need to come in just to kind of talk about first of all, like, you know, what you're brainstorming, you know, kind of getting your ideas out first to figure out what you want to speak about. Then maybe you want to come in later and say, hey, can you help me with my outline? I'm not exactly sure how I should, you know, go about putting the information together that I have. Then we go all the way to the point where you're actually giving the presentations and you want some feedback on your delivery skills. So it's a wonderful resource that allows you to kind of go through the whole process of your speech or your presentation that you're going to give. We also, you know, we have cameras and stuff in there as well, so we're able to tape you and record you, so you are able to kind of look back and see how you did. And obviously the students will provide great feedback for you to give you some pointers on what you can work on for the future, how you can make the speech or presentation a little bit better, stronger, just so you are able to give the best polished product you can for your class or your presentation. You can schedule appointments. Again, we have the website there that you are able to set up appointments with. And it's pretty much laid out, all the different tutors that are there. You'll be able to click on their names and take a look at the schedule, see what works best for you. And I think this has been said earlier too, it's really important, you know, to use these resources early on if you're feeling, you know, a little bit stressed with something like public speaking, because I know a lot of students do tend to get stressed with that. So please come in early and check us out. And again, it can be at any level, any point that you're working on with that presentation, wherever it may be. We're here to help you at all different stages. If you have any questions, you can always contact me. I'm more than happy to answer those. And I believe my email is up there for you. And I look forward to meeting some of you and working with you this semester.
So, hi, I'm next. I'm Bethany Heaton Crawford. I work in the Center for Disability Resources at SU, And someone mentioned it before, but Syracuse University and ESF are lucky enough to be across the street from each other. And that means that we can develop some great relationships and share great resources. And so one of those resources that we share is the services for students who want to identify as having a disability and might need to use some resources for that. So we are also lucky enough to be very well resourced at in the center. And so we have 8 access coordinators that can work with students in a number of different resources that can sort of augment the resources, the great ones you've already heard about that are offered through ESF and Amelia's area and everyone else's. And so what happens is when students need some support in relation to a disability, they will register with our office, which they can do easily online through our website. And they will be paired with an access coordinator who will work with them their entire career at ESF and get to know them really well. And together, based on what they know about themselves and their strengths and weaknesses and what the access coordinators know about the resources and the courses, they develop an access plan. And that's really going to be individualized for each student's needs and can be tweaked as we need to. And that access plan is then developed into what we call an accommodation letter. And for those of you who are familiar with it, it's pretty much the college version of a 504 plan or an IEP. It's very similar to that. And together you make that plan, and then we send an accommodation letter which outlines that plan that will get sent to your faculty through their portal. So we are lucky enough to have a lot of our resources be available to students online, which often saves students some walking. But we always love to see students anytime they want to drop in, as has been mentioned before. Those are the great times. And so I'm going to stop talking, but those resources are available to ESF students and SU students alike, and we have some great relationships. So the website is there, and if you have any questions, the phone number, our email is on our website, which is the link at the bottom there that I'm sure will be shared later. So welcome. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of you. Thank you.
Thank you everyone so much for sharing so much. And I know we definitely have time, about 15 minutes, but just some mention of other resources here on the screen as well. And as you have probably come to understand our shared relationship with Syracuse, so not just ESF's Moon Library that has a lot of research guides, the feature to chat with the librarian for anything online related, but also the SU Barnes Center is a great way to, as Amelia had touched on, mental health and wellness and all of that. That's a great resource there. We of course have our own counseling services unit, and that will be our session 2 weeks from now. And then SU has Bird Library and a few other libraries as well. And then we mentioned, of course, Onondaga County and getting library cards there. So I just want to mention our 3 sessions coming up. Again, we'll take about 15 minutes for questions, and I know several were answered, and there might be some you might want to repeat the answer to. But next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. is about Centennial Hall and meal plans, and also we'll touch a little bit on dietary needs. I know that that's always a question if you have any special dietary needs and how we accommodate that between ESF and SU. The following week, so 2 weeks from today, is about mental health and wellness. And then the last session is about student programming. I do want to just also take a few minutes to not just thank our panelists, but also address a couple bigger questions that came up. So some is about orientation. I know depending on if you're a first-year student, a transfer student, or even a family member, we have some information. I did shoot out the tentative orientation schedule as well, but certainly depending on if you're first year and living in Centennial Hall, you move in Monday through Wednesday where you pick the day and time, and we have about 100 slots per day. We do morning and afternoon. That'll come out in just a few weeks, end of July. If you're a transfer, you'll move in on Thursday, morning or afternoon. Both days, all those days, we will have some sessions with our Dean Lombard, who has been monitoring our chat with us. And that will be just a way to get to know people, but we will also have a taking care of business section in the outside of Centennial Hall. So if you have any billing, financial aid, billing or bursar questions, meal plans, all of that, we'll have a lot of key folks at the tents area right outside Centennial Hall. We'll also do a separate commuter dinner on Wednesday evening and throughout the evenings of every day of orientation, including those moving days between Centennial Hall and the orientation staff, including our 30 orientation leaders. Will have programming throughout the week and weekend, as well as partnering with some really great SU programs too, to mix and mingle with both populations as well. I mentioned a couple of things about Blackboard, and I know that that's been coming up too, but certainly there is an orientation course that's for you to take anytime. A lot of short 30-second to 2 or 3 minute videos about things ranging from academic success, which you heard some of, but then also sustainability efforts at ESF, our Office of Inclusion, Diversity and Equity initiatives, and a whole host of other things. So I wanted to turn it over to questions and see if we missed anything in the chat as well. So I'll see if anyone wants to unmute their mic to ask a question, just so that I'm not missing any questions, because I do see quite a bit of chat in this Zoom. So if you are so brave to unmute your mic, that is the best approach to ask a question, but certainly you could direct message myself or any of the panelists as well. Textbook information, I'll start. We will share that information once you're registered for classes. We do have an online ordering system where you could have your books ordered, and then they could either be packaged or you could pick them up at the SU bookstore. There are some courses that have books online or course readers that you can pick up at the base in the Bray Hall building, pay for it at the cashier, and then pick it up at the copy center. So we usually ask that you wait until orientation, because your schedule could change a little bit. And then certainly you're welcome to order through the ESF bookstore, which is run through our alumni office, or wait until the first day of class. And, you know, there are other options to getting the books beyond the bookstore at ESF. Certainly there are some students who, you know, find ways to get them cheaper, but certainly I always recommend your first year to just get the books you know, not through waiting and waiting, because it is expected that you have the textbook pretty quickly and not waiting weeks and weeks for it to come from some, you know, website or a friend weeks later. We will also post the recordings of these. I'll push out the email link to everyone who registered, and then I'll also post online and in a variety of other locations, this link and all the other 3 sessions, the recording as well. So absolutely. I see a question about bills as well. Bills for ESF should go out July 15th. So just a few days from now. Bills for SU, such as meal plans, if you're able to get a parking pass, such as a commuter or transfer. First year students aren't able to get a parking pass unless you have an exemption. Those will be billed by SU as well. So be on the lookout for that bill. And if you have any aid coming towards your meal plan, you'll get that through financial aid. Will get it through Bank Mobile or a paper check, and then you can bring that over to SU to pay that bill. Are there questions that I'm missing, or anyone in the panel that is seeing a question unanswered? Please do feel free to unmute.
Hello.
Hi, thank you.
I have a question about the meal plan. My understanding is that the bill for a meal plan goes out in September. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So does that mean the kids will start to eat like after they pay the bill, or can they start eating as soon as they get there?
That is a
How does that work?
Yes, Thank you for asking that, because that does come up a lot at orientation. They can their meal plan will start the first day that they're eligible to start. So typically for first years, it's about Tuesday around lunchtime. It will work regardless of if their bill was paid or not. It is associated with their ESF ID card, which is a green card with ESF on it, and their headshot. So we recommend that they submit their photo ahead of time. And just so families and students know, you do have to submit your photo once for ESF on the My ESF portal and once for SU on the SU ID card photo website. So again, 2 colleges, 2 different places to upload, but as soon as they get their ID card, they just swipe it at the dining center or the food courts at SU, and that's how their program works at SU. If they're getting a trailhead card, they do get a trailhead plan or points plan. They will get that as well at orientation, but it is a separate card because trailhead is run through ESF in Morrisville. But yes, to reiterate, their meal plan does not need to be paid, so they can eat as soon as their meal plan starts up, which I believe is Tuesday lunchtime. That's a great question.
Okay, so Tuesday, August 23rd. Is that correct?
Tuesday, August 24th.
The 24th. Okay, thank you. I wasn't quite sure what day. We don't know when our daughter's going to be moving in yet. But we know there's a window of 3 days, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So, okay. So she's going to be able to eat when she gets there.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, and for those moving in on Monday, we will make arrangements to have meals provided. We are still working those details out, but certainly follow their email if they are moving in on Monday to have any dietary accommodations met as well.
Laura, there was an earlier question on the chat about a schedule for math placement exams. Can you address that, please?
Yes, math placement information was sent out late last week, and I resent it out to first years today. Actually, they need to sign up for the math placement course, take that. If they are waiting on any AP credits, we're not sure exactly when they're coming in. I know that there's a drop day that they should be in by, but if they are, we recommend that they have it all completed by August 1st.
Thank you. With regards to the math placement, my daughter's a transfer student, so does it apply differently to her, or?
Yes. Beth, would you be able to answer that question?
Yeah, typically transfer students, if they've fulfilled the math requirement for their major, they are not required to take the math placement exam. But if they have not received credit for math, then they need to take it so that they are properly placed in math. And also the question just came up in the chat about, is there an SAT waiver for math placement? No, there is not. The only waiver out is if you are a transfer student and you've already taken college level math and you receive credit for that. If you're a high school student and you have AP credit for math and we get it in time, then you could talk to the admissions office about a waiver out of that, but we recommend that students take it just to make sure, especially if you have to go on in math, make sure that you've got the proper placement. And no, statistics does not count. It has to be for math. It has to be math in line with calculus, because that's what most majors require, either algebra and trigonometry, pre-calc, or calc. So unfortunately, statistics does not count in this case, unless that is the only math required for your major.
But many programs do require statistics as part of the program, so it will count if you have AP in statistics for many programs.
Right. It just won't count as a waiver out of the math placement unless that's the only math required for your major. Yeah. The question that just came up about math placement test, is the information available on which score is needed for certain math class? I'm going to be honest, I have no idea on that one. That's more of a faculty question, and the faculty from the math department that evaluate this. That's not something that's beyond me.
Thank you for addressing some of the math questions. I also know that there was just a question right now about math placement on SU Blackboard, and we are doing it through Alex now. So in the email that was sent out from me last week and today, it is registering with your ESF email. And for those who need to take the chemistry exam, it was sent through Dr. Neil Abrams. The chemistry program is a chemistry learning module, and that is for first years who are in most majors. And I think it's landscape architecture and environmental studies who don't need to take it, but okay, I see heads nodding. Thank you for that piece too. So I didn't want to lose sight of the Alex program for chemistry as well. I wanted to also open it up beyond placement and also defer to some, I'm happy to also put in my email and direct to the math coordinator. I wanted to open it up to other questions related to all academic life, academic support, all of our resources, Center for Disability Resources, anything like that. We have just about 2 minutes left, but I think these are really great questions. And if anyone in the panel has one last thing that they forgot to mention or want to reemphasize, I'll let you go as well. And if everyone in the panel can also just put their email and contact info, just so that again, we can make sure that we are all letting you know how to contact us beyond this 1 hour Zoom. Dr. Newman, any final tips and anything you want to share?
No, this has been, I think, very informative. I appreciate the panel for all that they've done and for the folks listening in. We hope we've answered your questions. Again, I'm trying to fill out my email contact right now. But again, like everyone has said, we're very excited about people coming back to campus. Just to have a full campus again is going to be a wonderful experience. So good luck, enjoy the rest of your summer, and come ready to work.
Thank you so much. Anything from Dean Lombard? I know you haven't spoken, but we'll hear more from you throughout the sessions.
You will. I've been trying to keep up with the chat, Laura. So there are still some questions about math placement. I think if at this point, because we're at 8 o'clock, if people have individual questions that weren't answered, they could certainly reach out individually. There is a question about ESF email and if it's been enabled. It has been enabled. So if students are having difficulty, they may need to connect in with our computer network services and the help desk. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you. And that is a great question. We just made that change actually very recently. Mary Triano, I'm not sure if you're still here, but I wanted to give you an opportunity just to say a few words if you have anything left to share as well.
No, I think I'm good. I think a lot of the things that I would have probably mentioned for this session have been kind of covered. I'll be back during the student mental health and wellness session and probably talk a little bit more about student support and assistance at that point in time. But welcome, everyone.
All right, thank you so much. Again, I'm so sorry if we missed any more questions. I do see a little bit more about email, and just so we can be clear as well, students have 2 email addresses. So their primary and official one is actually their Syracuse University one. So if they have not yet activated their NET ID and set their password, they should really do that ASAP. That is our official means of communication because of our shared relationship with SU and students register through SU. They will have an ESF email as well, and as was shared about Duo and getting that app, that should solve the problem. But certainly your credentials are a little bit different in a lot of cases. So what my username might be at SU might be a slightly different, even by one letter, which is just because we have two different systems in two different colleges. And yes, you can absolutely forward the emails together, whichever way you want to go. They both allow that to happen. So I will send the link on how to do that from SU to ESF. But certainly we're happy to cover this a little bit more at orientation. All new students are assigned an orientation leader, so they should have already heard from them. But I know if some of you have been accepted later or not hearing from your orientation leader, some of you might have had invalid emails or inactive emails. So certainly reach out to me about that so we can make sure you and your orientation leader have been chatting. I just want to give one final minute for any pending questions or any final remarks from any of our many panelists who I thank very much for being here today. Any final thoughts? Well, I want to thank you all so much for being here. Next, oh yes, thank you about that. The gym is accessed through SU. So they renovated their recreation facility. It's called the Barn Center. It is beautiful, state of the art. It was only finished just probably right around when the pandemic started, actually. It's got full basketball courts, a really nice gym, a pool, even accessible hot tub, esports room, a rock wall, therapy dogs, chair massages. I mean, I don't even, pretty much they have it. So it's a really cool gym, really nice showers as well. I know when it was not yet renovated, it was definitely not as exciting to go to, but I really am impressed with what they've done. And thank you for sharing the link. They also have really great outdoor trips and outdoor experiences beyond what we offer at ESF. Our students can join ESF and SU club sports and intramurals and Greek life and clubs and organizations as well. And Dean Lambert, I see you had a thought.
I do have my hand up, Laura. Thank you very much. As it relates to using all of those wonderful facilities, I want to remind people that in order to use those facilities at Syracuse University, you are going to need to be vaccinated. They are requiring that of their students. Our students need to follow those guidelines. And so that's where our students eat. That's where they work out. They use their libraries. They go to concerts and activities and so on. So even though it's not yet officially required by the state of New York until the vaccination is approved by the FDA, you will need that to access Syracuse University's facilities.
Thank you for adding that in. All right, well, I again want to thank you all so much. As a reminder, next Tuesday, 7 p.m., we will talk about housing and meal plans, and that will include information about dietary needs, and we can again touch on billing as well there and reconfirm that for those who aren't here today, your student can absolutely eat whether they have the bill paid or not. If there's any questions beyond the 4 topics we have for these Zooms, please do let us know. We also do bi-weekly newsletters. So we have one due out tomorrow around noon that will go out to all new students. And we also post those on the orientation website under Information Central. So again, thank you so much to our panelists. This is a really big panel. As you can see, even though we're small, we have a lot of mighty resources for your student to help them succeed here, not just at ESF, but at SU as well. So thank you very much. I hope you have a great night.